Psycho, maniac, one of the greatest of all time. And oh yeah, the smarts that he has, he was able to do it in ball too. He knew what everybody was going to do all the time, which leads to an alt-cast called Monday Night Football Playbook with next-gen stats, December 22nd, an NFL datacast aimed at avid fans, which will complement Monday Night Football and ESPN NFL postseason slate. So much like we got to see like a kind of a trailer or teaser or what it would be. So just like on Thursday night, how they have the analytics cast where they have circles and percentages and all that stuff, ESPN is going to provide that. Shout out to Adrenaline, which Sean Lee, former Dallas Cowboys linebacker and Penn State linebacker, also Western Pennsylvania soccer star growing up from Upper St. Clair in Pittsburgh. He's one of the owners of a company called Adrenaline, which has an AI model that backs with football players, with analytics, with stats and everything to be a good predictionary type situation. So they're going to team up Sean Lee, Luke Kuechly, analytics, and Monday Night Football. Oh, yeah, and Dan Orlovsky's.
Boom. Sign me up.
I think it's going to be good. Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Kuechly.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good, Luke. This seems in theory, and I know you big brain people operate in theory a lot, but in theory, this seems to be an incredible thing. I saw you got to do a little bit of a test run. I know you call games for Carolina on a rotational basis. How excited are you for this, and what do you think people are going to learn from watching alongside you, Dano, and Field Yates, Luke?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool opportunity. I think it shows you a lot about, what guys are thinking when DK Metcalf lines up at number 3, the 3 position wide receiver. He's lined up on a linebacker. His percentage of catch is going to go way up because the matchup on the linebacker is better. And then we can just give reasons why. Why does DK Metcalf line up there? Why does Jonnu Smith line up out wide at the number 1 position rather than in a traditional tight end location? We're going to try to explain a lot of the why. The next couple weeks will be five games that we'll do, but the reason is why. Why do they line up in this formation? Why do they line up in this defensive set? Why this personnel group? I think a lot is made out of the 13 personnel stuff this year, and a lot of guys have talked about why they line up in base versus nickel. I think it's going to be a really unique opportunity for us to explain why coaches do certain things and why certain players line up in particular positions.
I'm going to watch it, steal your shit, act like it's my own. I appreciate you. That should be an absolute blast. I think that is what the goal would be for every football fan and football consumer, to get smarter about the game that we all love. And hearing from you will certainly be a beautiful piece of it. Let's talk about the game that you did there with the Dolphins and Tua. We just asked, and obviously your opinion is certainly warranted in this particular conversation. Tua put up 70 points against the Denver Broncos with that McDaniel offense whenever he goes down there. They were using late motions, late shifts. They were doing a lot of that stuff, kind of innovated, changed the game. Do you think defensive coordinators caught up to them? Do you think Tua just wasn't as sharp as he used to be? Why do you think we saw a regression in performance, clearly, by McDaniel and Tua down there in Miami? And him getting benched, obviously, is the end of an era of Tua in Miami. What do you think the future potentially looks like for him, Luke? So I think you start with how and why we got to this point in Miami, and then what do you think the future looks like for Tua, Luke?
Well, I think it was certainly the production wasn't there. Obviously, the Tyreek injury hurt them. Robert Hunt coming to Carolina, I know you guys already referenced that. Same thing with Armstead. The pieces that they've had in the past aren't there how they used to be. Now they kind of rely on Jalen Waddle. A-Chain's obviously a really good running back, but I think a little bit is people have caught up to the motions a little bit, all the pre-snap shifts, all the pre-snap motions. That was all very new in the way they did it, but as people see more of it and the communication on the defensive side of the ball catches up, it becomes a little bit easier. But I think you guys kind of nailed it a little bit. You watched Tua after the game. It's like, man, how serious is he? He's on there, talking with Jalen Ramsey. It's like, man, just get in the locker room, be with the guys. If you need to talk to Jalen, you can do it behind the scenes. But like you said, it's the end of an era. They had a great run there. But like you said, all first round picks are going to get another opportunity. He's produced at a high level in the past, and there's nothing to say that he can't do it again.
Yeah, it's what was it about him that made him a great player? His accuracy, his anticipation whenever they were humming? What do you think it was? And for you, as a guy that was on defensive side, what are the most important things a quarterback to have that's most lethal against a defense?
Well, I think he knew where the ball needed to go very quickly, and his accuracy was there. And I think as people kind of caught up to it and they lost some of the vertical presence from Tyreek, when you have those two guys that can burn, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, it puts a lot of stress on defense. But now when you only have one vertical threat to worry about, the game changes a little bit. But I think what allowed him to be successful is he understood that offense. He knew where the ball needed to go. He played with great accuracy, anticipation, and just hasn't quite been the same this year.
Okay, let's move away from just Tua in Miami, even though that's huge news. I mean, he was the number 5 overall pick to the Miami Dolphins, obviously coming out of Alabama, a lot of success. Mike McDaniel got hired there to make Tua great just a couple years ago. They're going to take on the biggest dead cap in the history of the NFL if they decide to cut Tua, which we all assume will happen. Good luck to him in the future. We can't wait to see what's next for all parties there. The Panthers aren't ass. Hey. That's good news, right, Luke? Don't we think that's good news that they're not ass? Like, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is the case? It feels like the vibes around the whole team vastly different than it was just 2 years ago. Is it as easy as bringing in Morgan and Canales? What do you think you felt down there with this Panthers team?
Well, I think they've been very particular in how they've built the team, right? So Bryce's rookie year, he got sacked like 53 times. So, all right, what are we going to do? We got to address the offensive line. We bring in Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt in free agency. We have Austin Corbett, and then we have 2 guys we drafted at both tackles. So in one offseason, they fixed the offensive line. Last year, we played really well up front. We've had some injuries. And then last year, the issue was we're not very good on defense. We struggle up front. We don't have a ton of depth. So what do? Derek Brown comes back, obviously, from injury. They bring in Tershawn Wharton. They bring in Bobby Brown. They draft some guys in the perimeter, Nick Scorton and Princely, Umanmielen, who's a Ole Miss guy. So we have a combination of free agency and then draft picks. And I think the one guy that's helped us a ton has been Trayvon Merrick. We brought him over from the Raiders. He's able to do a little bit of everything. He can line up as a safety. He can line up at the nickel position. He can line up at will linebacker. He gives us a ton of versatility on the defensive side of the ball. So I think Dan and Dave have done a really good job of saying, hey, we need to control up front. So first offseason, we go draft offensive line, bring offensive linemen in free agency. Year 2, we take care of the defense. And then year 3, I think, is where they are really expecting to kind of take off.
Do you know the rest of the 53-man roster? And I'd like to hear everything about them, please. Could you?
Hey, we've got good young players everywhere. And a lot of it is just you got to grow with these young guys, right? On the offense side of the ball at the skill position, we've got JT Sanders, 2nd-year tight end. Jalen Coker's our slot guy we brought in. He's an undrafted free agent, but great size and catch radius. Year 2, Leggett, year 2. Our first-round pick, T-Mac, great player, year 1. So it's a lot of that at that skill position. It's just young guys, and you got to play with young guys when you have them. And sometimes they're great. Sometimes you have those young mistakes. But as overall, our young guys at skill position are great dudes. They play really hard, and they're going to continue to learn.
Man, they cook your ass. It'd be a milk check every single time with this guy right here. That's who they're looking for out there, Luke. Canales seems to have a good brain down there for the offensive system with Bryce Young. Go ahead, D-Butt.
Yeah, Luke, it's a lot of great brains right now on offense around the league. McVay, Ben Johnson, Shanahan. In your opinion, what's like the toughest offense to face right now, and what makes like a great play caller in your opinion?
I think the ability to set plays up, right? So they're going to show you a look. They're going to have 2 or 3 run plays off that look, and they're going to have 2 or 3 pass plays off that look. And I think, there's the Shanahan, McVay, that pre-snap motion, that pre-snap shift, I think is really good. And just a good example of that is, McVay will line up, or Shanahan will line up Kittle on one side of the offensive line, and then line up Juszczyk on the other side of the offensive line. And those guys are kind of interchangeable. So there's really no run tell. There's no pass tell. They can check it at the line of scrimmage, and then they start shifting and motioning, and it goes from 2x2 to 3x1 pre-snap. And then on the snap, there's a guy coming back across the formation. So they're going to give you so many looks pre-snap. They're going to shift guys. They're going to move guys as the ball gets snapped. And all that does to the defense is it gets you moving sideways pre-snap. It gets your communication off. Maybe it messes with safety rotation. And then the ball gets snapped. Your feet aren't set. You're not where you need to be. Your eyes are in the wrong spot. So then that half second that it takes you to get to where you need to be, they've got angles on you in the run game. Kittle's run past you. they just do a great job of window dressing and showing you stuff, and then boom, snap the ball and it's on you right now.
Okay, so let's continue this conversation about what you just basically alluded to there. You go from 2x2 to 3x1. So you close, boom, boom, boom. Then quarterbacks also apple to the second play into the third different formation that they were in. But you were a little bit different on the defensive side. Go ahead, AQ.
Yeah, Luke, I remember game planning for you when you were in Carolina, and it was always when you guys would go double A gap, we would always have to like dummy point just to try and get you off because you were so good at switching the blitzes, understanding the protection, and getting the right check up. How much power and how much freedom did you have when you were doing that, or was that more part of the call and part of the game plan?
A lot of it was just part of what we were trying to do, and I think Sean McDermott was our coordinator for a long time in Carolina. He did a really good job of saying, hey, what do you guys like doing? What do you feel comfortable with? And then he'd go into the game and say, hey, what are you guys seeing and hearing on the field? And then we were able to kind of switch stuff up during the game based on what we saw. Thomas Davis was really good at it too. So we had our set rules, and then inside of those rules, we had the ability to try to figure out, hey, if we're double mugged and the center comes to me, Thomas, you take over the blitz, right? Then it's, could be a one-on-one on the running back. Boom. If they turn to Thomas, then Luke, you go blitz and have a one-on-one with the running back. So we were just always trying to find ways within the defense, within the system, to find the best opportunity to create an advantage for us.
Was there anybody that you knew inside and out and you just couldn't give away that you knew them inside and out? Like, you almost know it too good. We don't want them to know that we know it too good. So is there a couple plays where maybe you like, oh, you got me on that one, like you kind of do there early in the game? Like, how did you play once you got a really good beat on somebody, which in our eyes, in the way you are talked about by literally everybody, is you had a good beat on everybody. But is there anybody that you had like locked in very early that you didn't want to give away, if that makes sense or not, almost play poker with?
Yeah, the most difficult group was always the Saints with Breeze and Sean Payton, because all 8 years it was Drew Brees and Sean Payton. So they knew us, we knew them. Our system on defense, we had 3 coordinators. McDermott left, and then Steve Wilkes went to Arizona, and then we had Eric Washington my last year. Our system was very similar year in and year out. Their system was very similar year in and year out. So it was always within that game, you were always thinking, why are they showing me this look right now? What is this look meant to show me that, and then they're going to come back to it in the second half and run something off of it. So when we'd come to the sideline, we'd be like, all right, this is the formation, this is the look, this is the play that they ran. And then you kind of had to look at it from their perspective, an offensive perspective, and say, hey, what else can they do from this set that would give us issues? So that was kind of always the game within the game of, all right, this is what it looked like in the first quarter. This is what it's going to look like in the second quarter. From their perspective, where else can they attack us? And that's kind of what we looked at.
How about Peyton Manning told Ray Lewis that they had 12? It's like one of the, It's a legendary clip where he's like, you got 12, Ray. You got 12, Ray. You got 12. And you see Ray like, it causes timeout, and they actually do have 12 or whatever, And Peyton and Ray obviously played against each other a lot. They have a lot of respect for each other, and I don't know why Peyton told him at that point, other than just maybe to shit talk Ray that hey,
alpha move.
Hey, I am in there. But for you, whenever it came to understanding what the other team was going to do, and was that film study? You talked about it being live in there. And is there anybody that you felt bad for? Was there anybody that after the game you were like, hey, you guys literally the most predictable team in the history of football? Like, you need to maybe work on some stuff in that entire thing. Did anybody ever ask you about that? Like, hey, what are our giveaways to you? Would you ever give that up? Like, can you go behind the scenes a little bit as being known as the Nostradamus of football, and how offensive teams would treat relationship with you?
Yeah, I think I always felt like in Carolina, our coaches did a great job of preparation. Hey, these are top run formations. These are top sets. This is where they're trying to get to. And then we would always talk about within our defense, what stresses us. Where are the natural stressors that we have in our defense? And played a lot of, cover 3, single high defense. We brought some slot pressures. Where are the issues in that defense? So you'd always have that in the back of your mind. And then the film study to me was a huge advantage. You guys know how it is. You always look to find an advantage before the game starts. And for me, the film study was something that I really enjoyed. And if you could steal 3 or 4 plays during a game just based on what you've watched, I think it's super helpful. And then also, the more you watch in the game, in the NFL, the more you get a feel for how offenses are trying to attack teams. And that kind of carries over from, say, we're playing Shanahan one week, and then we go play, McVay, and they're the same kind of a defense. Where did Shanahan give us issues? Because, McVay went and watched that tape, and he's going to have something that's similar to that. So I think we did a great job in the meeting rooms with the coaches. We took practice very seriously. We wanted to get things right. We had a bunch of older guys on our team that loved practice and loved doing things right. And then we transition it to the film room after practice, and you kind of put all three of those together and you roll it out for the game, and you feel pretty good about it.
December 22nd, Monday Night Football Playbook with Next Gen Stats. Luke Kuechly will be live in real time telling you exactly what every other team's going to do alongside an AI model. That was one of the founders is Sean Lee, former NFL linebacker. And he's going to make $1 bazillion off of this. I mean, if he's in the middle of an AI company that is now sponsoring a Monday Night Football simul. Congrats, Sean.
Sean. Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Congratulations to you as well, Sean.
You gonna be calling out plays, Luke?
Yeah,
what's the Romo thing, or?
Yeah, how is that going to go?
That's what's going to be exciting. I think a lot of it'll be. You
still got it, Luke?
Out.
Do you still got it or no?
I guess we got to tune in next week and see what's going on. It'll be fun. I think I'm looking forward to most is I'll talk defensive perspective, and then Orlovsky will have his side, and we'll kind of. I'm sure there's going to be some back and forth on, hey, this is what Dan sees. This is what I see. Hey, it's 3rd and 7, in the minus side of the field. What's the defensive perspective here? Everyone talks about, Pat, you know about this.
Yeah.
On the plus side of the field, are we trying to bump a team out of field goal range? What's the approach? Is 3rd and 7 blitz package different than a 3rd and 3 blitz package? I think that's all stuff that we're going to try to figure out and talk about during the game.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. And Dan Orlovsky needs to tighten up here over the next couple.
Yeah.
What's today's date? December 17th. This is on the 20th. This is Monday night.
Dan's ready.
He needs to be. I mean, there's a chance you get exposed out there, Dan Orlovsky. You got Luke Kuechly on the other side. I mean, there is a chance. He's got an AI model working against him potentially and a human AI in Luke Kuechly. Dan Orlovsky's the only non-AI out there. Field Yates is fantasy football AI, right?
Uh-huh.
Luke Kuechly is defensive football AI, right? I think if we were to get it. And then actual AI model founded by Sean Lee. Okay, so.
We got Sully and Wazowski Orlovsky coming in.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. We were just doing Fun Day Monsters Inc. last week. Dan!
Range, baby.
Dan, tighten it up, Dan.
Good luck, Dan.
Tighten it up, Dan. We need you out there.
All 8 of those teams, they all have unbelievable defenses. And we had Bruce Arians on yesterday and asked him that question, and he basically said, that's important, but if you don't have a quarterback who can score 30 points a game in the playoffs, it doesn't mean shit. You're not going to win a Super Bowl. But would you be surprised if we're going back to that maybe, a 2000 Ravens, where if you have a truly elite defense and it's the best part of your team, then you don't necessarily need like a Josh Allen or one of those top 5 QBs in order to win a Super Bowl?
Well, I think if you talk to anybody in the AFC, the last team that they want to play right now is the Houston Texans. I mean, that defense has played extremely well. D'Amico has those guys rolling. And I think they're going to keep getting better on offense. CJ Stroud probably hasn't had the year that he's wanted, but they're big. They can run. Nico Collins is a really good football player. So I think the defenses certainly play a role in this. But I think, I don't disagree. I think having guys like Josh Allen always gives you an opportunity to win games. But on that AFC, you got the Broncos and you got the Texans. Those defenses are really daggone good.
Yeah, here's what the current playoff picture looks like. And to your point about the Houston Texans, they could be the 7th seed. They could end up a AFC South champion. I mean, there's a chance they have to take on anybody. But if it's Patriots-Texans, obviously Drake May and the Patriots have been successful. Travion Henderson has done his thing. But the Houston Texans make everybody's offense look like ass. They literally bring the boo birds out every single time they are playing in somebody else's stadium because of how great they are. So if you have an elite quarterback, I guess that's the only way you can really beat them, like Josh Allen just did, coming back from being down 21. So I guess Bruce Arians' point is valid, but it used to be like you just need a defense that's like able to get a stop whenever you need it. Now it feels like some of these defenses are full game, pounding, lower score type games. Is that what the playoffs look like? I don't know. I'll be excited to see what the fan reaction will be if it is a defensive dominant run to the Super Bowl for any of these squads. We can't wait to watch it. Good representatives in the AFC and the NFC. Hey, we are in a good place when it comes to ball. Up and to the right, everything, and that starts tomorrow night. Thursday night football, Rams and Seahawks, and then Monday night, Colts versus Niners, and that'll have a playbook with next-gen stats available alongside of it with Luke Kuechly's big-ass brain breaking it all down.
Phillip Rivers?
Yeah. Luke, you think Phil Rivers is might get it all wrong out there, brother. Okay, you might have no shot. We'll have it on in the suite. We will have it audio all the way up so we sound smart whenever we're watching. And I'll be excited for you to continue to add to this world of analytics while also using ball. Now, on that point, last question. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, Luke, from Massachusetts. Last time I went to a BC football game, you were playing on the field. Thank you for your service, and thank you for kind of showing me I will never be successful at playing college football because of how good you were. But looking at the analytics and the stats, you know, this is what your Monday Night Football is centered around. How do you feel about NFL coaches kind of centering their decision-making around statistics? It feels like it's going to be part of football no matter what. Analytics, you know, they do help, but sometimes they hurt you more than you help you. How do you feel about that entire thing, really, with coaches using it to decide whether to go for fourth down, to punt the ball, those types of things?
Well, I think the advantage is when you trust the numbers. If you're going to be an analytics guy, the best way to be is to say, hey, every time it says go, we go. Every time it says don't go, we don't go. I think when you get in trouble is when you're like, you get emotion gets involved into the decision, and you say, hey, it's a strong go for it. Hey, we're not feeling it. The momentum's not there. Our guys aren't rolling in the right direction. I think in order to be successful over time using the analytics, and that's ultimately the goal of why you use analytics. It's not for the isolated time. It's for, hey, over the course of the season, if we listen to what the numbers are going to say, we're going to have an advantage over teams that don't. That's the best way to do it. And the worst way to do it is to kind of pick and choose and get emotional. And when you get emotional, things don't work out and the models don't work the way they're supposed to.
Oh, no. I think the numbers, I think they got Luke. That doesn't sound like
Now, please don't forget that these are humans. I know you're not one.
There.
Huh?
It's still ball. You asked me the question about analytics, and you just you got to trust it. If you're an analytics guy, you got to trust it and take the emotion out of it. Didn't say when I coached 7th and 8th grade football, that's how we do it. We lean a little bit more into emotion, but for the end, there we go. I'm coming back full circle.
Ball guy, yeah, push comes to shove. We know what you'll do. Yeah, whatever you need to win. With your big brain, I need you to help me here. But my house was this box of chocolates. I went 0 for 3. I went 0 for 3. And a lot of people tell me, you need to look at the legend to know what they are. There was no legend on this box, okay? This was an actual box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I went 0 for 3, the first 3. All 3 ass ones. You know that raspberry one that's in there?
Raspberry nougat.
Some other ass one. Which one would you go with next here, Luke, just using your brain and ability to predict things if you had to look at this particular box of chocolates?
Reading the legends, like reading instructions, you don't do it. You just go in there and dig in and find the one that looks the best. I mean, the first one that grabs my eye is that one with the white icing on top of it.
The drizzle or the sprinkle?
Yeah, the drizzle one. That one looks good to me. It looks like it would have a little crunch, might have like a caramel filling on the inside. That one looks pretty safe to me.
That's not caramel, Luke.
That's not good.
Yeah, it might be cookies and cream.
Luke, you have watched film.
You don't eat sweets,
we appreciate you. We'll see you on Monday night. We appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you for your service to ball. You're the man.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, Luke.